Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Let's Play series. This time we'll be playing a game called Distant Worlds Universe. So a little bit about the game. Distant Worlds Universe is a 4X game. The 4X is being Explore, Expand, Exploit, and Exterminate. It was developed by Codeforce, and the actual Distant Worlds Universe game was released in May of 2014, but the Distant World franchise has been out for quite some time now. It was originally released in 2010, and there's been other expansions following the release of the original game, being Distant Worlds Shadows, Distant Worlds Legends, and I think there was a couple others that led us eventually up to Distant Worlds Universe, which is pretty much the original game plus all the expansions and then the Universe expansion all combined into one game. So we're going to be playing this game, and we'll be using a mod called the Beyond Extended Universe mod, and this mod is still in development, created by Black Stork. Basically, the mod just adds tons of new races to the game. It improves the AI. It adds a lot more content and just cleans the game up really nicely. It's impossible for me to play the game without this mod now. After playing this mod, I really enjoyed it, and now I want to play the mod every time I play the game. So that's the mod we'll be using. As usual, there'll be a link down below in the description if you want to head to the Matrix site and purchase the game for yourself or browse the forums. You could also go to the Matrix site and pick up the Beyond Extended Universe mod if you already have the game and you're interested in playing with the mod we're using. So basically, I learned how to play this game by watching other YouTube Let's Players. That's really the only way I think you can learn how to play this game without just diving right into it and getting absolutely obliterated. So I hope you guys learn something from me as we play along. I'm definitely not a professional at the game, but I like to think that I'm not bad at it. And this first episode here is just going to be a lot of setting up, going over the settings that we're using and whatnot, as well as, of course, explaining a little bit about what we're doing and about the game. So please feel free to kind of skim through this episode or skip through it altogether if you'd like. But I do recommend hanging out and seeing what this is all about. Because the settings that we're going to be using are going to influence the creation of our empire. So let's do this. Let's start a new game here. Actually, real quickly before we do that, let me show you something, the options here. We're going to be using for automation expert, meaning no automation. So what's really cool about this game is that there's so much to it. The developers actually had to create automation where your empire can you can set up certain sectors to run themselves. So if you want to play the game and you only want to focus on war and combat, then you can only you can set it up so that everything else is controlled by the computer, and you control all the wars and combat, or you control all the diplomacy, or you control expansion. And the game can you can go through and the game can kind of control everything else for you. So if you're like, boy, I really want to go to war with everybody and I want to control the big fleets and fight everybody, but I really don't want to deal with shipbuilding and colonization and treaties. Those are things I don't want to touch. You could just set up the computer to do that for you. However, we will be doing everything manually, so we're going to run the entire empire by ourselves. It is going to be quite a deafening task. I've done this twice now. However, I'll be honest with you, I've never played the game with the computer helping me with anything. I'm not gonna lie, I tried one game with the computer helping me with some things, but it was not, well, the AI basically bankrupted my empire right off the bat, so that was the problem, as well as I just didn't have very much fun with it. I didn't like things kind of being out of my control, and so when I turned the expert mode on and turned all automation off, I found that the game was a lot more funner. I could kind of have more of control over what I was doing. It was just a way better experience. So that's what we're going to be going with. So let's click start new game here, and custom game as standard empire. Now you've got an introductory game that'll teach you basically a little bit about it. It looks like, I don't know, I've never really. Introductory game. Oh, maybe it won't. Maybe it's not a tutorial. I thought maybe it was, but it looks like it basically just throws you straight into an easy game in the classic era with abundance of resources and few pirates. So just kind of sets you for success, I guess. I don't like being set up for success. I like getting my ass kicked, so we're not going to do anything like that. But you can start in like different ages of the universe. So the ancient galaxy. You can play as a pirate faction. There's pirates in the game, and you could play as a faction yourself, which is pretty cool. Standard Empire in the Age of Shadows, a Classic Era, the Return of the Shakturai, I believe that's how you say it, Shakturai, and then the Legends, and all sorts of stuff like that. We're just gonna do a custom game as a Standard Empire. And so here's the settings here. So start a new game, the galaxy, and we're going to set up our galaxy that we want to play in. So I've already gone through and set up all the settings, so that way I can kind of just breeze through and let you guys know what we're doing. I just went ahead and did it all myself. So we're going to be playing in a regular galaxy. There's other things like ring galaxy, nice even clusters, varied clusters all over the place. I like the irregular just because it's kind of nice and even. Everybody has the chance to get a fairly decent start, and there's lots of room for expansion and growth and stuff like that. I used to play with the ring one a little bit, and even the spiral, but I found that if you got an empire that was stuck down here in the corners, or if you got stuck down in the corners, it would become very difficult to expand. And so the irregular just kind of makes it nice and even for everybody. Now for star amount, we'll be doing huge, 1400 stars. Hopefully my computer don't catch fire and explode. That's the goal anyways. For physical size, huge, 15 by 15 sectors. So this is going to be a very large map. For expansion, we're going to start in the pre-warp age. Sometimes people like starting in the starting age or the young or expanded. I like to start in the pre-warp age. It feels more like I'm in control. It kind of just, I can set off, what I want to do right off in the beginning. So just pre-warp, kind of the opening to the game. Aggression, I'm going to have it on an unstable. So the other empires are going to be a little aggressive towards each other, towards me. That's okay. I want the galaxy to burn to the ground, so we're going to put it on stable there. Now for difficulty, I'm going extreme. I am probably nowhere's near capable of handling this level of difficulty. I think the last game I played it on normal. So I'm kicking it up an extreme amount, hence the extreme. But I don't think that I'm going to have too much difficulties with it. I think with your guys' help, we can really make this work, and we can survive, hopefully carve ourselves a piece of the galaxy. And if not, then we'll just watch it all burn, which will also be a good time, I'm sure. Research costs, I'm just gonna set them to normal. I don't need to go anything above or below that. Normal's fine. Space creatures, I put that at many. Kind of second guessing that though. Not that it's really that important, but we'll keep it on many. We want chaos. I want this place to just be a giant clusterfuck of just empires and space creatures and battle and war and just death everywhere. However, I am going to keep the pirates here on normal and the pirate strength on normal, and the pirate proximity, we're just going to keep the average. Just because some of the games that I played where I put pirates on very many and strong, it just became way overwhelming. There would be 2, almost 3, sometimes 4 times the amount of pirate faction than there were empires, and the galaxy becomes a very crowded place, and not in a good way, in a very bad way. Pirates just, if they're like cockroaches, they'll multiply and they'll fill everything, and then they're just everywhere, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I found that this seems to be the prime settings for what we're trying to do here. And then destroyed pirates do not respawn. We want to kind of cut ourselves a little nice safe sector of the galaxy. Well, safe other than all the wars we're going to start. But I don't want pirates just respawning around the outer reaches of my empire. If I destroy an entire pirate faction, I want it to be gone forever. So let's go next into colonization and territory. So for this one's pretty self-explanatory. Colony prevalence, we're going to go with plentiful. So our colony is going to be our starting colony. Is going to have plenty of resources as well as other colonies around us. Just because I found that with the settings I'm going with, I need just any little bit of advantage that I think isn't fully cheating or anything is going to help. And plentiful, I think, is just going to make that much more of a difference that I can kind of keep up with the AI. For independent alien life, I'm just going to keep it on normal. Basically what this means is that not everybody advances into the space age at the same time. I might advance into the space age. There might be empires that have been in the space age for a while. There might be empires that out there that aren't in the space age yet and only have one planet. So this is kind of independent alien life. These are how many aliens are out there on planets that aren't in the space age yet. And those alien lives have the potential to become space empires as well. And I'll show you that setting a little bit later. For colony influence range, don't worry too much about this. We're going to set it to 106. I won't go too much into detail about this. You'll see what it is when we get in game and such not. Colonization range is just how far outside of the sector I can colonize. And I'm actually going to lower that a little bit. The reason for this is because if an empire ends up getting in an area that doesn't have too many planets it can colonize around it, it'll really dwarf some of the empires, and we don't want that to happen. I want the empires around me, and myself included, to be somewhat healthy. So let's just do one full sector. I think that'll be fine. That'll give everybody the chance to kind of get out of their home world, go out and expand and see the universe. So let's take a look at the race we're going to be playing. And here they are. So this is part of the one of the races in the extended universe mod. There are many races, as you can see. Now I can't really exactly point out which ones are the original. I know there's the Sabouts, they're original. Humans are original. I really only played the original game. Gazarians are original. I really only played the original game a few times, maybe once or twice actually, before I got the extended universe mod, and then I played like 2 games with that, and it's all I've known ever since. So yeah, we're gonna be playing with the let's see, we're gonna call these guys the Dakar. We're gonna pretend that the L is silent. So we're gonna be playing with the Dakar here, and let's talk a little bit about them because it's kind of important. So our native planet type is going to be ocean. That's important because that means that we're going to be starting on an ocean planet, and then most of the planets we're only going to be able to colonize for the time being are going to be other ocean planets until we advance our colonization research. For our default production rate, that's plus 15%. That's pretty good to start out with. 15% reproduction rate. That's going to help our planet grow and prosper very quickly so we can bring in lots of money for taxes. So characteristics for our race. This is kind of funny. So we're extremely aggressive. We're extremely reckless, very unfriendly, very intelligent, and quite unreliable. So we're not going to make too many friends out there probably. I'm going to try to... Here's how I want this game to work. We're going to kind of be an evil empire race. Usually I play good empires because I like being good, and I like going around and saving people, and I think it's fun to kind of side with the good side and do stuff like that. But I'm actually going to play this game a little different. I wanted to play as an evil race that's trying to take over the entire galaxy basically, and is prepared to do whatever it costs. And when I went through and was looking at the races and I found this race, I realized that this just fit the bill. I mean, we're going to be very aggressive and very reckless, not very friendly. We're going to try to make a few allies, probably with races that their goals align with ours, such as taking over the galaxy. So, and then eventually we'll probably hash each other, take each other out in like a battle of the ages over supremacy. So kind of allies to enemies thing. And then I wanted to be very intelligent because I want to be like a smart race that's going around taking everybody over. So I thought that would be pretty cool. And then quite unreliable just means that other races don't really trust us very much. And obviously these other characteristics can pretty much sum up why. So bonus, warrior class, troop maintenance minus 20%. So that's going to be really useful when we're going around and taking over planets with our troops. We're definitely going to need to have a lot of troops to put on the ground, and having minus 20% is going to save us that extra tax money. So we get a resource bonus from dilithium crystals, plus 10 construction speed for all colonies that mine this resource. That's really useful. So if we can find lots of planets with dilithium crystals, and I don't think we'll have too much of an issue with that, then we can build construction. We can do construction from those planets and get a plus 10% speed for all our ships that we could produce. So race victory conditions. I guess I'll go over these just a little bit. 25% subjugate the most empires in the galaxy. 25% exterminate or enslave most people in the galaxy. 20% destroy 8 times more enemy troops than you lose. 15% own the largest capital ship in the galaxy. 15% destroy the most enemy troops. So lots of killing. That our victory conditions are going to be just trying to slaughter pretty much anybody that stands in our way for galaxy domination. And I think that's interesting. Own the largest capital ship in the galaxy. So maybe we'll start some like massive capital ship project. That'll be pretty cool. Just be some like massive flagship for our empire. And then there's a little bit about colonies here. I won't go over all that. For characters, we're less likely to generate new ambassadors, 50%. That's going to be kind of a huge hit if we try to make a few allies. But I guess since we won't be allying everybody, it won't be too bad. More likely to generate new fleet admiral characters, plus 30%. That's going to be amazing. We'll be able to have admirals in all of our fleets. More likely to generate new scientists, plus 20%. Another very good trait. So we should be able to stay on top of the research game for a fairly long time, and less likely to generate new intelligent agent characters. So we won't have very many spies, which is unfortunate because spying is usually very important for getting lots of different technologies and such. So that means that we're going to have to be very greedy with our spies. We cannot just send our spies out there willy-nilly dying. I need to at least guarantee I've got like an 80 to 85% chance of success for our spies, because if I lose a spy, I have a very low chance of getting a new one. And then we've got some other things here, so let's just kind of go over these really quickly. Our special government type will be Hunter Symbiosis. Yes, Hunter Symbiosis, and I'll go over that in the next screen. We have a lot of disallowed governments here. I won't bother going over all of those. There's too many of them. But special technologies, Hunger Seeker, which is going to be a long-range scanner. That'll be pretty useful for keeping our empire on lockdown and making sure that we know what's going on in our reach of the galaxy. No disallowed technology, so that's really cool. That's going to be useful. We get larger military ship sizes plus 20%. Larger civilian ship sizes plus 20%. That is huge. We're going to be able to take advantage. We need to take advantage of this in the early game with our exploration ships and the such, making sure that we're doing all the exploring we can possibly do. Just reaching out and touching everything we can get our hands on, trying to beat the early races to the exploration game. And so this larger military ship sizes plus 20 is just going to be a huge advantage for us. Slower construction speed minus 10%. So we are going to suffer a little bit of a slower construction speed. That's okay, because if we find the planets with the dilithium crystals on it, we can kind of zero that out. So stronger spaceport armor plus 20%, that's pretty useful. Put a lot of spaceports up, making sure we're defending our planets. Lower tourism income minus 80%. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, tourism will not even be anything I do for this series, because it's not going to be worth it. I'll only be making 20% of any income I make. I guess maybe if we become large, well, no, it's not going to be valuable at all. So we won't be touching tourism at all. I mean, we don't really want people to come visit us anyways. We don't like people. So lower migration rate minus 20%. People aren't going to be migrating to us. That's fine. I don't like other people. And faster troop regeneration plus 30%. So we're going to be able to stand up armies very, very quickly and make sure that they're fueled and ready to go. So just a little bit about the race here. Our empire name, we're just going to be the Dakar Empire. I think that's good enough. This would be our flag color, this purple and teal color. That's the color that if you actually go to the forums and take a look at the actual forum post for this mod, all the new races, and they have all their flags next to it. And this was the flag that was posted next to this race, and I decided to go with it just because it is a pretty cool looking flag. For our home system, we're just going to go with normal. Galaxy starting location, we don't really care. Anywhere in the galaxy, we don't mind starting. Size, we're just gonna be starting size. Tech level, of course, is pre-warp. Corruption, just normal. Don't need to make that any harder than it's already probably gonna be. And then here's our government type here. So Hunter Symbiosis, very good government type for what we're gonna be trying to do. So corruption minus 20%. That means that our government's gonna be very in line with itself. Our people are gonna be, you know, pretty in line with our goals. There's not going to be anybody really trying to overthrow, planets trying to overthrow our government, so hopefully we'll be able to keep our corruption very low with this minus 20%. Our growth rate plus 10%, very valuable. Going to be able to get our planet population maxed out hopefully quickly with this growth rate percentage boost, as well as any planets we colonize just start spreading and infesting the galaxy. Research speed plus 15%, like I said earlier, it's going to get us in the research game very, very quickly. Colony income is just going to be normal. That's good. At least we don't take a hit for that. Maintenance cost minus 50%. Another huge thing that's just going to save us even more money. We can build larger fleets with that money. It's just a huge bonus. Troop recruitment is just going to be normal. That's fine. And war wariness. Wow. War wariness is going to be minus 95%. That's right. Holy shit. That's a lot. Minus 95%. That means that when we go to war with other races, we can be at war with those races for years and years and years, and our people will not be upset hardly at all. But those races that we go to war with, they're going to suffer from war weariness, and they're going to want to get out of the war. And they're going to probably be trying to send me peace treaties and trying to give me things to back out of the war, and I'm not even going to need to take it if I don't need to, because I've got this war weariness minus 95% right here. I could just pretty much name the game for any war we're in. So since we're going to be declaring a lot of wars, this is very important. We're going to be at war with the galaxy pretty much the entire game. So just take a look. The other empires here, I don't have any. I'm just going to have the game auto-generate starting empires. 21 starting empires. Hopefully this isn't a mistake. Originally, I wanted to go down here and add my own empires because I want to make sure that there's going to be a couple bug empires and stuff and some other ocean empires and just people that we can somewhat align with. Even though I do want to burn the galaxy to the ground, I would like to have at least a few allies so that way the entire galaxy doesn't band together and steamroll me. But we'll see what happens, I guess. I just wanted to go with the generate 21 starting empires and just kind of, I don't know, draw from a hat and see what happens. And then we're allowing independent alien colonies to start new empires during the game. So those independent alien colonies I told you about that can be, you know, slowly behind us. You know, they might not be in the space age by the time we are. That's okay because they have the ability to eventually reach the space age and become their own their own empires. That's what I'm trying to say. Their own empires themselves. And then for our victory conditions, we are going to have victory conditions. I do want this game to eventually, you know, I do want there to be a winner at some point. If we actually reach these victory conditions, I'll be impressed. I honestly have a feeling we're going to get steamrolled like sometime within the first, I don't know, probably like 20 years of the game or 10 years of the game. We're probably just going to be like obliterated, but we'll see. So there is going to be the victory conditions. However, the victory conditions are only going to apply after, let's actually change this. Let's change this to, or well, I don't remember how long a year actually is. Let's just keep it to 25 years. So the victory conditions aren't actually going to apply till after 25 years. So that gives us plenty of time to try to reach some of these goals here, as well as I'm going to have the original Distant World story events on there. So lots of cool events happening. Enable Return of the Shakturi story events and victory conditions. That'll be interesting. I've never played with Return of the Shakturi, but I've heard that it's an absolute nightmare and they usually show up and try to obliterate everything. But we're actually going to try to maybe ally them. That's right. We're going to try to maybe talk them down, ally them, and see if maybe us and the Shakturi can't watch the galaxy burn together from a nice, comfortable seat on my extremely large capital ship. Enable disasters, enable race-specific events, and enable the shadow story events. And then we're going to allow tech trading and allow giant kelters at GameStar. And the tech trading is just, there is a lot of controversy around this being a game breaker. I'm going to do my best not to exploit it. However, I'm still probably going to take advantage of the tech trading here and there only because I'm going from normal difficulty to extreme difficulty, and I'm going to need probably all the help I can get. I'm not really prepared to handle an extreme game. Well, I think I'm a little prepared, but we'll just keep that on just to kind of, you know, it might come in handy. All right, and we're going to start the game. And so here we are in the game. Took a little bit for us to create that galaxy. There's a lot going on in this galaxy, so it makes sense. And so we've got the welcome to your empire screen and everything, but we're going to go over all of this next episode since we are out of time. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys are excited for this series as much as I am, and I'll catch you next time.